say?
Guess I don't use that.
There you go. Take my words out of context.
God, could you imagine the outtakes for whenever we film that shit?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that guy was into some weird shit. All right, everybody, welcome to Kinoclub. It's episode 13.7.
13.7 is what we're going with.
We have progressed
Rapidly.
rapidly. We
growing.
don't have 13.7 views.
Yep. Yeah, not even on across our entire channel.
we didn't even watch your own shit 13.7 times.
Yep. All right, what are we talking about today?
One, you did some filming this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I shot a music video for up and coming artist here in Houston called Speedy Noragua. I don't even know how to pronounce his name, but he's a good kid. He's got some talent on him. He might actually do something. He's got a good, solid speed rap mainstream sound, and I shot him up on West Road in 45, and got some good drone shots. A nice little opening shot. I think I showed it to you.
Yep.
And
When's that supposed to come out?
I try to get him done within a week.
When's he gonna put it out?
I have no idea. I send it to him, and then I let it be. I send it to him to use, and then I just throw it up on my Vimeo and let it be there, because nobody uses Vimeo, so it's not gonna hurt anything.
So, all right.
Oh,
you got a cat.
You got a cat,
but they don't care that you put it out yourself at all, or
we never discuss about it. Where I'm at right now is because I'm new to the music video market. I'm doing them. I either do them for free or for $500. And this was a deal that I did for free.
So it's yours.
I don't care. Nobody signed nothing. I respect what he does. He respects what I do.
That's the one I did. I got paid, and we had an agreement that I wouldn't release it publicly.
Yeah. I feel like the general rule of thumb is if they don't say explicitly that you can't, you can.
No, I agree.
That's
especially
if
you're not getting paid.
If you're not getting paid, that's yours. That's yours.
Exchange.
You're just doing them a favor by giving it to them. But yeah, I mean, he was a cool dude. He was awesome to work with. He actually showed up at the location before I did.
That's impressive.
So I was like, this guy might actually do something.
That is, getting people to show up, and I did not turn my phone off. So,
but what about you? You were out of town this weekend, right?
I was out of town. Wife and I were in Dallas, getting drunk on St. Patrick's Day, and didn't shoot anything, but should have. Got stuck in a tornado and didn't bring a camera. So
you had
nothing
all
to
the
show
thrills.
I got all the thrills. A million times I said, this would look great. This would look great on film. We should film this. But I'd have nothing. So I learned I always got to bring a camera no matter where. If I'm just going to the store.
Yeah.
Now I got a bag that, I take a T5i and a lighting kit.
Some people have emergency kits. You have an emergency camera kit.
I don't have a spare tire in my car, but I got a camera.
That's all you need. So that's what we did this weekend. So let me ask you a question. What made you get into this business?
Well, I'm a lot older than you.
Uh-huh.
So what made me get in this business was the movie Swingers.
Swinger with Vince Vaughn?
With Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau. Like that movie changed everything. It changed the way movies looked. It changed the way writing was done at that time. And Vince Vaughn, became the one character who he's always been.
Yeah.
Except for in Jurassic Park 2.
Right. Which is where I first was introduced to him.
But yeah, I mean, that movie just made me look at everything just a little bit differently, and it made me say, I got to do this. This is something that I want to do. And I remember I was 15 years old and just walking around listening to, at the time it was Gin Blossom's The Refreshments, and wrote my first screenplay,
Yeah.
and who knows where that fucking 90 pages is now, but
Yeah. I'm
the,
surprised you wrote 90 pages for your first screenplay.
there's the I wrote all right. So between 17 and 19, I wrote 3 screenplays that were anywhere from 90 to 110 pages.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I don't think I can even spell words that would add up to
it was,
90
and
pages.
it was one of those things like it was just, I read what the fucking was it Sid Field that wrote the screenplay book.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I read his and Mamet's screenplay book, and I was young, so I had the time to put myself into everything, and just was Rebel Without a Crew had just come out.
Yeah, yeah. That was. I mean, that was. I think that's still kind of the opener's beginning filmmaker's Bible.
Like
I mean,
that book had
basically
just
what
come
he's-
out, and there's a Tarantino book that had just come out about his filmmaking,
Yeah.
and all that just lived in me. More. I didn't have kids back then, so I was able just to breathe these movies and watch all these things, 24/7. I was
Right.
putting in a fucking different VHS tape,
Yeah.
and that was 20 years ago, and life took me a few different places between then and now, but
Yeah.
but it always stuck with me. Like I was always, when I was in Iraq,
Yeah.
I wrote 50 pages of a screenplay
Yeah.
that became a screenplay I actually finished, but it took me
Yeah.
10 years.
And they turned that movie into 12 strong.
12. They turned that movie into many rejection letters from agents because of movies. When I went to sell it, Fury was in pre-production,
Ah.
and so was like Man Down and a few
Yeah.
other of the war movies. Thunder
So
Run
it was yeah, there was a good period there where we were kind of oversaturated.
yeah,
with war
and
movies.
that was the problem. Is that they said good movie, good writing, oversaturated.
Did they really though, or did
They were kind.
did they really?
They were kind. I'll tell them that. Whether or not they thought that,
Yeah.
I got I got some no thanks,
Yeah.
and then I got more than a handful of the long drawn out letters like, hey, this is the reasoning.
Uh huh. Yeah.
So someone actually read it. Someone actually broke it down for me, and I was impressed.
Does
by
that make you feel better or worse about it?
It makes me feel. All right, it made me feel good that somebody read it and took it serious,
Uh-huh.
and had a reasoning why they said no, and it made me feel worse
For all the reasons they
for
said no.
every other reason.
Yeah.
The reasons that they said no, and the reasons that can't you just say yes to something?
Yeah. So what was what part of the filmmaking process was like that was specifically what you want to do? Were you trying to be a writer? Were you trying to work in camera department? Were you trying to be a director?
All right, for me, I love writing.
Uh-huh.
I love sitting down, and I love, you and I, before we started filming this, we spent an hour and a half dissecting a short film that I'd written and
Yeah.
making it ready for pre-production. We
Yeah.
we rewrote a whole screenplay in an hour and a half, and it was
Right.
that's what I love.
Yeah.
But, and I can't remember who said it. I can't remember where I read it. No one's gonna make your shit for you.
No. Not at all.
So if no one's gonna, I'm in Houston. No one, I can't go to LA and fucking get an agent.
Yeah.
I can't go shop my screenplays around LA. If I take a screenplay around Houston, fucking people are gonna laugh at me. They're like, we
Yeah,
got
I
enough
mean,
doorstops.
Yeah. No, I mean it's tough to get in the creative. I mean, writing is a hard thing to make it a profession out of. And so that's just like if you had one job, you'd be a writer. That's what you would do all day.
I would want to be a writer. I hate acting.
Mm-hmm.
I act because someone's got to, and I've gotten all right at it. Directing, I would rather AD than direct
Okay.
because I feel I've always been in a better role to be the man behind the man,
Yeah.
or I'd rather DP than direct.
Yeah.
I like to have a voice, but I don't want to have all the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean that being a director is just
And
everything's your fault.
yeah, but
Some people love that.
yeah,
Some
it's
people love that.
I've done it. It's a lot of pressure. I would like to do it on a bigger scale with maybe it's a lot of pressure on our level where it's a one man
Yeah.
show a lot of times.
Well, yeah, because typically you would in a perfect world, you'd be a director and you would just communicate to about 3 people,
Yeah,
and then the rest, those 3 people kind of know the specifics of what you want.
and that's not where we are. We're at a one man show level where
Yeah.
you know I got to direct, and I also got to do sound, and I got to set the lighting, and I got to act, and I have to fund everything, and I have to keep
That's
everyone motivated.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if I could just
If you could just write all day,
if I could write and produce,
write and produce.
I would love that. I would love to write, and I would love to be on set and have a say in things, but at the same time, I tell my say to one person, and then
Yeah.
they take it or they don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's where I'd want to be.
I got
Like
you.
the dude who wrote Animal House.
Yeah.
That was him. He
Yeah.
he wrote and he produced, and he did one line in the movie.
Yeah.
That'd be the perfect role.
Yeah. I mean that's true.
So,
Yeah.
all right, same question.
Yeah.
You being you 13 years younger than I am,
Yeah.
at a different time in American history, what brought you into film?
Yeah. Well, I would say the more emotional side of it was, being growing up. The movies were always a consistently pretty good experience because we just all sat down and nobody talked to each other, and we were all happy. And
Now we have
agreed on
now we have
something.
YouTube for that.
Yeah, now we have YouTube for that. And, so it was always a pleasurable experience, but I would say I saw the movie Sherlock Holmes Game of Shadows, and I saw the cinematography of it.
And
I
then
saw,
yeah, Guy
yeah,
Ritchie just
Guy
did an
Ritchie,
amazing job. It was unlike
and
any other movie at the time.
yeah, it was Guy Ritchie was the director, and Francis, I can't even pronounce his last name, was the cinematographer. He was even nominated, if not won, the Academy Award that year.
They make me want to look it up.
Yeah, go ahead and look. Please look it up and
So we can
and
pay.
tell-
So we can pay.
pay
give him some
pay
credit.
homage to the legend. But yeah, I saw the way that the camera moved. I saw the way, and if you've seen the Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr., you saw.
Wait, we're talking 2011.
Has it been that long?
To me, it's been that short. Like
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it feels like that.
Philippe.
Philippe.
Rousselot.
Yeah, I ruined that.
Interview with a Vampire. A river runs through it.
Yeah.
Big fit like that. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
legit.
Big Fish was another one because Tim Burton's movies were also very very nice visual aesthetic.
Larry Crown, like just
He
an
very
eclectic-
diverse.
Yeah,
Very diverse.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, a lot of Tim Burton stuff, I believe.
And Remember the Titans. So that's really impressive.
Yeah, I remember seeing that, and I actually this is one of those times where I actually looked up who the cinematographer was, and I would watch I watched Interview with a Vampire because he did the cinematography.
That is a weird, I guess, level that you get to is whenever you start realizing who's holding that camera.
Yeah. Because what you have to understand is there's no way, and you can even see this in the Christopher Nolan movies. Just for example, when he switched cinematographers, his movies changed their look and feel.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, there's a very big part, and when I realized that, I realized that's what I wanted to do because I don't like people. So I wasn't really a director. I'd rather just deal with machines, and so I learned everything I could about lighting, about camera specs, about things like codecs, and information why a red camera is worth $50,000 and why a Canon 5D is only worth $5,000 or
And that,
3,000.
and that's what's crazy about this industry, is that what brought us in was two separate sides. You learned about cameras. I learned
Yeah,
about writing, and I learned about directing.
and that's something that I've learned is that the industry needs, like, obviously the industry needs writers and it needs directors, but there's such a small percentage of people who actually know
Yep.
what color temperatures are, what f-stops are, what ISOs are. It pisses me off to no end whenever I like start talking about this stuff, like what I would think is basic level, and nobody knows what I'm talking
Oh yeah,
about.
you.
But that was
I give
my
you the
rule.
dead eyes.
Yeah.
You'll start. He'll get into the detail, and I'll just be like I enjoy listening to it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I have no fucking clue what any of it means.
Yeah.
And then I'm googling later so I can sound smart. And the next time we meet up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I love, and I love talking about that stuff, and I love experiencing that. I love like figuring out the camera movement and everything that we call cinematography, because it just affects the film so much.
Now, is that where like are you a cinematographer or a filmmaker?
Cinematographer.
I'm a filmmaker.
See, that's one of the things about me is I hate the term filmmaker because
It's
implies it's an overused term that people that laymen's use if they shot a home movie with their iPhone, and it doesn't really, it's lost meaning.
I'll give you that. I mean, it's different than
It's lost meaning
it
I feel
was
like.
10 years ago.
Yeah, because like
Everybody has a camera now.
yeah, I mean, I've worked for a guy who was a complete idiot, had other people make all of his stuff, but he put on his website, filmmaker and author, and I'm like, no, okay, I was like, if that's what a filmmaker is, I'm not that.
See, to me, filmmaker is being able to put everyone together.
Yeah,
Like, if I had $5,000, I could put together a great team
yeah,
and get something done. That's a filmmaker.
Yeah.
A cinematographer is a cinematographer, but
Yeah.
a filmmaker is the overall. Like, you have your
Yeah.
specialty. I am, I guess, in this, I
Yeah.
have no real specialty. I'm stronger in the writing
yeah,
and probably stronger in the directing just because of a management background.
yeah,
But but I can put together a team
well,
that can make something perfect.
And it's something that when you're in the video industry, especially in Houston, that isn't really doesn't have a lot of big studios. I mean, I've talked a lot about how I see a lot of potential for the film market in Houston, but it's not there yet. And what that means is you can't make a living as a cinematographer and not be like in the director's chair and
Yep.
and all that. And
Because
just like you were saying,
No one's
is
gonna make
like,
their shit for you.
yeah, and that's the point. It's harder to find somebody to pay you what you're worth to produce that image than it is to just make your own stuff.
Yep.
To have a vague idea of what you want and then just make it. And that's something that I constantly do as an exercise of myself. If I'm not working on a project, I just go out and shoot something.
Yep.
And I remember whenever I first was on the freelance circuit, I would set up like I had my 3-point light kit, my camera. I had one of those little little tables from Walmart, and I just stuck a stuffed animal on
Yep.
there, or a gnome or a garden gnome on there, and I just started lighting it different ways, and that made up like 30% of my reel when I first started.
So yeah, that's one thing. Going to school through Full Sail is one of the projects that they had me do was light things like that.
Yeah,
I took WWE action figures in a ring
yeah,
and lit them, and it's probably been the fucking best thing I've ever done. That's how shitty.
yeah. I mean, and that's what's fun. And whenever you get the opportunity, I remember whenever I was learning to, whenever I actually had somebody actually teaching me lighting, what they did is they took a C stand, They took a T-shirt that was lying around, and they took the shop mop, and they clipped it all together, and they said he lined up the lights. He took an RE light, he took a softbox, he took a umbrella, and he lined them all up, showed me what all they do, and just started giving me like, light this scene. You light that mop for this look. Light that mop for this look. What are you going to use for this look? And that was the type of stuff that I loved, was just figuring out how the shadows fall, where they fall, where you light it. Do you light it from above? Do you light it from below? Or do you do eye level? How do you avoid those glares in the glasses and all of that? Because I've always known it was possible, and it's so important, and it's so overlooked in so many stories, and especially at the basic level.
Well, I mean, would you look at guys? Like, I don't know the guy's name. We could look it up, but the guy who did is a show called Quarry and a show called Ozarks.
Yeah,
His lighting is nuts,
yeah,
and he has this blue look
mm-hmm.
that is from the set.
Yeah,
Like, he starts that look in the set, and just I read an interview with him. That's, he uses that same look, and I guess it comes from white balance, because I was fucking
Yeah.
with it yesterday. But it gave everything just a different feel, and a
Yeah.
little bit darker and a little bit more ominous.
yeah. I mean, that's what they did for that the movie Leonardo DiCaprio won an
With
Oscar
Revenant?
for. Revenant. Yeah, they used that was all natural lighting.
So their white balance was
That was all natural lighting. They only used they might use some bounce cards and stuff like that. But yeah, that was all natural lighting. And if you watch that movie, he doesn't go any tighter than like a 21mm lens, and that's what's so interesting. And those little details are what's interesting to me and get me excited. And that's really, like, if I could have one job, that would be what it was. And it all started, seeing somebody like Felipe Rosalot with Sherlock Holmes.
That's so crazy. Just those different. Like, you're looking at that, and I'm looking at bigger picture.
Yeah,
Like, how did you're looking at the shots and how do they light that, and I'm looking, how did he get that?
Yeah.
How did he get this guy to act this way?
yeah,
What did the director do to?
yeah. I have to force myself to think about those things. I'm definitely thinking more about how did they get the shot. Did they use a gimbal? Did they use a jib? Did they use a steady cam?
See, and I 100% believe in just saying, hey, I want this shot,
Yeah,
and handing it down the line, and somebody helps me make it happen.
and that's the thing is that the industry needs both those types of
Yep.
people. And I think in the smaller markets, there's very much a shortage of people who know the technical aspect to bring the
Well,
film to life.
And I talked to a million people, and I've hung out with people that were in school and made shorts, and they don't know this thing. Everyone's a bigger picture idea, and like
Yeah.
you're into those specific
Right. Yeah.
settings, and breaking down
And
those things.
And honestly, if I want to do what I do and just be the guy that produces something and produces an image, then I don't, you shouldn't need to know every single little bit. You should only have to know enough to communicate with me.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason for you to know about how many, megabits, the camera's processing.
And it's crazy because you'll get into that, and I feel like I should know that. But you're right. I mean,
I don't think you should, though.
there's different levels on what people need to know. Like,
Yeah.
if I know if I know where I want something to go and the look I need it to have,
Yeah.
I should know enough to convey to you, or you should know enough to convey to me how we do it, or
Yeah.
if it's even possible.
For sure.
And what's crazy is, and I don't know if you just said you did a music video this weekend.
Yeah.
Did you get into any of that with your artist, like, or did you
No,
and
so-
get dead eyes back from him, like, even on my
Well,
level?
I've learned over the years that whenever I start talking about that stuff, they literally just look at me like I'm speaking a totally different
And
language. I don't bother them with it. So like for the
it,
music
it
video,
could actually kill the cell on it.
it would kill it. It would absolutely kill it. I desperately need a producer to to talk to people, and that's what producers are for, to be that liaison. But no, what I did was I shot the whole I shot the whole thing on my FS100 with a 24 millimeter pancake lens, and was on a glide cam, and just got a variety of different shots. Ran through performance like 2 times per scene. Got a scene of B-roll. Took a couple of specific, like a drone shot and a specific like silhouette shot that we had discussed. But yeah, I don't. I mean, there. If I'm getting paid money, I'll talk a little bit about it. But yeah, if it's just something that I'm doing, for
They may
next
not
to
even want
nothing,
to hear it.
they don't want to hear it. I just tell them I'm going to shoot from down here, and that's going to make you look like a hero. That's going to make you look larger than life if I shoot from down here. If I do this, it's going to make you look like this. And I've learned to use that language rather than explain the actual science of it. And I just say, this is going to make you look like a hero. This is going to make you look good. That's it. But yeah, I struggle because I really want to talk about that stuff.
I know you do.
I really want to, but then I'm just like, they don't
Get it.
they don't
It's wasted breath.
they don't know the struggle. But no, I mean it's something that I enjoy, and it makes it all that more refreshing when I can talk about that stuff.
The only thing I can relate with that is accounting. I
Yeah.
can go in, I come from
Yeah.
an accounting background, so I can go into operations management and accounting, and all of a sudden
Yeah.
all those details are lost on everybody. So,
Yeah.
so if you need a line producer,
Yeah, if you need a line producer, there you go. But I mean, yeah, I would, yeah, I just have a hard time, like, because I get so excited about it so easily, and then I lose people so fast. But then it's also funny because I'll meet other people who know so much more than me.
and then you're like, I don't know what he's talking about.
I don't know, but I want to know. And then there's also this thing of, this is what I sound like to people when I'm talking, isn't it? I do this to people all day.
This is what I do.
Yeah, I won't even tell my family what I do all week anymore, because I would have to like explain every single sentence. I just can't even start. I know if I start, I will lose them.
So, yeah, I'll do the same thing, and even at, not even having that specific knowledge, when you're on a music video set, like you said, you got to break it down. You got to tell them,
Yeah.
hey, this is what we're doing. You got to get your actors, and you can't say, hey, we're using this lens to fucking make you look like this, and we're lighting it like this
Yeah.
for this. We're just like,
They don't care.
yeah, just this is what you're doing. Look this way.
They just look at you and they say, "Cool story, bro.
Yep.
Cool story, bro. Just do what you want."
All right. Before we lose everybody,
Yeah.
second topic: filmmaking resources. Now,
Yeah.
you just showed me the depth of field calculator that you use.
Yeah.
That's
so
on iPhone.
Speaking of nerdy crap, there is what I didn't realize is I shoot, my day job is shooting real estate photo and video. So I'm a media director at a real estate brokerage, and I shoot this stuff. And a part of that is you don't want a shallow depth of field in that. You want everything to be as in focus as it can be. Otherwise, it looks really bad, and it's hard to do with low light. So I learned about something called hyperfocus. So what hyperfocus is you have your lens, you have an f-stop, you set it to a certain distance, and everything will be in acceptable focus. Not pin sharp, but good
Yeah.
enough. And there's a mathematical equation that I do not understand, but there's an app for that. It's called the DOF calculator. It's a free app on the Apple Store. I'm sure they make Amazon versions. But yeah, you put in your camera model, more importantly your sensor size, because that's really all it needs. Put in your camera number, your aperture, which is to say your f-stop, and calculate it in meters, and it will say, okay, focus at 34 feet, and everything will be in
Oh, the
focus.
cat's rubbing against the mic. That's gonna be good.
Oh yeah, I hope it. I hope the cat farts in the mic. But yeah, it's been really helpful if you're doing like events is probably, I would say that would probably be really helpful if you're shooting like if you're just setting up a camera to shoot
Like a hard
wrestlers.
camera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just set it up and forget it, and everything will be generally in focus.
In wrestling, the hard camera is the least important part.
Yeah, yeah. So just set it up and
Yep.
you're done. So I found that helpful. So again, that's the DOF calculator. I'm sure there's a bunch of different versions, but yeah, it's been real helpful if you shoot anything like real estate or live events. What do you got to help me out?
Now, you're more in depth than I am.
Yeah,
I use the Full Sail YouTube videos.
that
Being
nothing wrong
a
with that.
Full Sail alum, that's
Okay.
actually what got me into Full Sail, was watching their YouTube videos, because I was going into pre-production on a short film
Yeah.
that never got released because it should never be released,
Right.
and so I started using those, and they taught me the lighting, and they taught me just the basics on how to get everything.
Just enough to get yourself in trouble.
Yep, exactly. Just enough so you got to spend more money
Yeah.
to get better things.
So before a shop light was fine. Now you need something really
now
fancy.
I need the 3-point lighting set. Now I need, I need fucking a better lens. I need a better camera. Everything's gonna make something better. But these, but watching how to make these, I was using a T5i at the time,
Yeah.
so it's how to light with a T5i and how to, make things look great with that kit lens. And I could never get there.
Yeah.
I've seen people get there.
Yeah.
And but these were a great resource for me to get in there and actually be able to get my hands dirty and make things look better than I had.
Yeah, and that's the main thing is that you just look better than you did. You make it look better than it did 3 months ago.
Yep. And I was, like I was showing you earlier, I was playing with color correction. That's the best I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And it's still shit.
Yeah.
But it's better than it was a year ago. It's better than it was a month ago.
Yeah.
And I
mean,
got enough footage that it'll, tomorrow will be a little bit better.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And yeah, I mean, I know there's a guy on YouTube that helped me out with color correction. His name's Matty Hoganoff, I want to say. He used to be Travel Feels.
Yep.
On YouTube.
That's how I know him.
And
okay. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he does a couple of good lighting, color correction tutorials that really broke down the scopes, using the scopes and matching different cameras. So that helped me out exponentially with color correction.
That's one thing I got to get more into is the color correction, because it just makes
you and me both
a world of difference. And there's a Facebook group. It's a color correction Facebook group.
Oh yeah,
that I'm in, and basically it's just a whole bunch of people. It's the same thing as a weightlifting group I'm in. It's, hey, rate my weightlifting group is rate my lift. Am I doing deadlifting right? This is rate my correction.
Rate.
Yeah, not rape. Rate.
Okay.
I
heard something very different.
So people are like, oh, everyone talks shit about each other, like, oh, you blew out your whites, and you got to have more green in there.
Yeah.
So basically, it's a way for you to show people that you're advancing while still having to feel bad.
Yeah.
Hearing how they talk shit about you.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you can handle people talking shit about you,
that's all this game.
From
moms to wives to fucking.
Yeah, I mean, that's, if you can handle that, then that's going to be the best learning source, because then you'll know. The number one rule in video production for me is no news is good news. You'll never hear when you do a good job, but you'll sure as hell.
Oh my god, and that's what pisses me off, right?
Yeah.
You direct a music video, and then you're like, and they put it out.
Yeah.
Oh, great video! You did such a great job. I can't believe that you sang this song. No one says, hey, the director set that up pretty well, didn't he?
Yeah. Nobody's going to talk about that. It is a thankless job, but every now and then you get somebody who's interested in it. So for all those people,
nerds like us
get it.
Like
we know the pain.
all right, what As far as music videos, do you have a specific music video that made you say, "I would love to direct music videos"?
You know, I wouldn't say that when I interned, the studio I interned with, that was like 70% of their business at the time. So I kind of came up in that a little bit. So I was kind of I understood there was a market. So I thought it was interesting.
But there
But
wasn't one like when you were growing up that said, "Hey, this is beautiful. I want to do this." I want like guys like Mick G were
Yeah.
doing music videos whenever
Yeah, I mean,
when we were young.
the music video that probably, like, obviously I would see like The Pretender from Foo Fighters. That was an interesting
Yeah.
video. That got me turned on to Foo Fighters.
That you can tell a story in 2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I love that one. That was one of the first ones I remember. But I remember one video in particular that I actually saw relatively recently that made me think there's some really cool stuff you can do with music videos, and that was uh, Fozzie's Judas.
Yep, you showed me. You were the one.
Yeah,
that showed me
I
that
showed you, and Fozzy is the band for all you wrestling fans out there. Chris Jericho's band, and they had a very interesting concept where they would play the video at half speed, like when performing for the video, and then they just speed it up, and it gave it this really nice like off image. And I remember seeing that, and I was thinking, that's really freaking cool.
Now, this is how I got kids. I got
Yeah.
young daughters. There's an artist named JoJo Siwa,
Uh-huh.
who is she's like 14 years old and she does music videos.
Uh-huh.
She did the same thing, and I was able to catch it and bore my kids and tell them, "Oh, this is what
Yeah.
she did." But what she did, she sped it up.
Okay.
She didn't slow it down. She sped it up probably 50%.
So she performed it at
She's-
double speed?
She performed it at like probably 150,
Okay.
and
Slowed it down.
then they slowed it down in post.
Yeah. And even the Fozzy video was kind of a they drew their inspiration from, I think it was a Guns N' Roses video they mentioned.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, but yeah, when I saw stuff like that, I was like, "There's some really interesting experiments you can do that you can't really do in like a movie. You know, you're not really
Because it's not acceptable to do things.
it's
certain
not
things.
acceptable to do those things." So when I saw that, I was like, you know, music videos are really where you can experiment
Yep.
with the imagery, and that's why
Exactly.
I like, you know, and that's why I kind of like doing that. Even as even one man band, I have to be the director as well. I'm okay with that because there's a song and the performer knows his song, and it's all up to it's all about the visuals.
Yep.
Really, you barely even half the time the artist is directing the music video. They have an idea and you just kind of do it, you know. I mean, so it's very much a field where you can kind of just play with it. What about you? What was one of your was
It
for
was,
music videos? What
it was-
was you?
Bush letting the cable sleep.
Okay.
And I remember, there was a great. The first time I saw it, I said, "This is beautiful. Everything's done perfectly."
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out Joel Schumacher directed it.
Yeah.
like
Joel Schumacher.
like he had done everything else, and he came down to do a.
So
do
he
music.
can do something right.
Well, he did Flatliners.
Yeah, but he also did Batman and Robin.
Bat nips are what's in. I would love to see Ben Affleck with some bat nips now.
That would make the franchise so much better.
But yeah, that one just they told a story in 2.5 minutes,
Yeah.
and it was it was done with crazy colors. And now that
Yeah.
I know more, I
I remember my first day of my internship. They were shooting a music video. They had freaking clowns breathing fire. They had colored lights going everywhere. They had smoke machines.
could you imagine being on that level, like being at you're
I
directing. on
can.
that
I was
level.
there.
No, but you're directing on that level.
Well, that was the thing, is that when I look back and I think about the director, I don't feel like he was that far ahead of where I am now. Like, I could get to that point in the next 5 years. I really believe that that's possible. I mean, you look at uh, Orson Welles was 27 when he did Citizen Kane. I mean, like, it's really just a matter of getting the practice in.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's just a matter
that's
of
what it
getting
is.
practice
Is
in.
being able to get out there and, like you said, film every day and shoot something and
Yeah.
play with something. And I guess we'll move on to we're actually in pre-production for a short film that we're
Yeah.
doing. Probably the silliest thing that I've ever been a part of.
It's so zany. It's
Like I feel like if I'm going to describe it, it's like a cross between like National Lampoon
yeah,
and
it's definitely
like
in that
Ace
category.
Ventura, something
Yeah.
on that level of zany.
Yeah. And so the challenge for me is to take something that is written to be so zany and then shoot it and do a shot list that is really intriguing at the same time
Yeah,
that complements it.
and like yeah, I mean, you see so much stupid shit like we're gonna do on YouTube that's not done well.
Yeah.
And our goal for it is to do it like it was a feature.
Yeah, I mean,
Take that careful care of it. And
yeah, I mean, Key and Peele had
Yep.
did have
they changed the game.
gave us kind of a template for doing that, because if you watch the Key and Peele skits,
Everything was like a feature. Everything was a short
everything
film.
was you could have made it, you could have written a drama and did Key and Peele like cinematography,
Yep.
but then it's it's hilarious
And
content.
we wonder why he won an
And-
Academy Award.
Yeah.
All right. So look for that. We're gonna do some behind the scenes stuff on that as well, which will be more interesting than any of this.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it'd be hard not to, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, this gives you something to do on your lunch hour.
So we're gonna do that. We also, you got music videos coming out.
Yeah.
The music video I did will be
Yeah, I
released
mean,
one day.
Yeah, I'm working on my website and gonna put all sorts of stuff on
So on the way out, Instagram
there. At JP Media 281.
at Table 8 Productions, and are you on Facebook? No, the
Nah,
JP Media.
No, I'm on Twitter as JP Media. I don't use Facebook. They're a communist company. I don't.
They did love Russia. But yeah, Table 8 Productions, Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't remember my Twitter password, so I haven't been on there in a long time.
Yeah.
You're on Twitter. You're on Instagram.
Really, my only
And
Twitter.
your drone shit is on Twitter. So look
Drones?
at that. I
Yeah.
was really impressed by that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, drones are a real easy way to get really cinematic images, and I've been able to play with a lot of different cool stuff. So that's something
one of my favorite shots that I've done is it was using a jib. It was
Yeah.
a car pulling up.
Mm-hmm.
He gets out
Yeah.
and he walks from the car to the front door of a business.
Uh-huh.
So I started off at the feet
And then just
and I
climbed all the way.
slowly climb
Nice.
up as he's going to the
Nice.
business. And it was with a comedy, so it didn't fit the mood, but
At
it was
all.
at all. But it
But
was a beautiful shot.
Awesome shot.
And we also used this. We also used a jib as a steady cam
Yeah.
because we didn't. We set up the jib for inside,
Uh-huh.
and we had to weight it down. Like it was just.
It was just not moving.
Basically just us being bored and wanting to see what this jib could do because it was the first time I'd used it. But yeah,
Well, if you're gonna have a jib, you may as well get the most out of it.
well, we were using it to get so tight
Uh-huh.
on the shot in an office, so we had to come through the door with a jib because you couldn't
Uh-huh.
do that. I mean, someone could have sit on the desk, but it was just funnier to
Yeah.
do it that way. Oh, it was crazy. But again,
JP Media 281 on Instagram.
if you need a cinematographer,
Yep.
that's him. If you need a fat actor or a filmmaker, that's me, Table 8 Productions. And we're going to go drink some more beer, and we'll be back next week.
All right.